At the end of this video, I will tell you the confession of the accused in this incident, and believe me, I have never seen a more heartbreaking confession than the one he confessed to the police. On September 12, 1982, two officers from Alaska were on vacation. They went out hunting in a very beautiful area about 20 miles away from Anchor, Alaska. Remember the place where he came to hunt? You can come by plane or by boat, so that means we can say that every hunter who comes here will be strong. Gradually, it became evening and it was about to get dark. Now both of them realized that they should leave from here, so they came out of there and started going towards their camp. They were just walking there when they saw a shoe coming out of the water flowing from the side, which meant that the shoe was sticking out. So they thought, let's go and see whose shoe it is. Now, when he was a police officer, he went near that shoe, and after going near the shoe, he saw that there was not only a shoe but also a human bone inside that shoe. He was very surprised to see this, but he did not touch anything because he was a police officer, so he knew that some crime had happened there, and he could not disturb this crime scene by tampering with it. Otherwise, Sabode would get lost here, so he just kept his map. He took out his location from the map, and after waving the location, he just looked at it from all sides without disturbing it. He came out of there and went to his police station, where he reported this thing to his senior officers. Not at night, but the next day, the police again reached the spot, and this time the forensic team was also present with them. After reaching the spot, they did a complete investigation and took out the remains of the dead body from there. They were also surprised because the entire body had melted, but the clothes of this woman were still on her. After searching around, nothing was found except one piece of evidence. Yes, and that evidence was the shell of a bullet fired from a .223 caliber rifle. Now you must also be aware that this rifle is generally used by all the hunters, and this area was for hunters, so getting such bullets or finding one of their shells was not a big deal. Immediately, Gallus Hadith sent the remaining body for an autopsy, and the autopsy revealed that it was a woman whose age could have been between 19 and 21 or 23 years. Apart from this, it was revealed that he was killed by 3 bullets, and it was murder. But here, the marks of the 3 bullets that were fired were not on his clothes but only on his body, which meant that first his clothes were taken off and then he was shot, and after putting his clothes back on, he was found here in this swamp. Apart from this, we usually use a bandage around his neck when he gets injured, etc. We also had that bandage wrapped around his neck in this manner. It was only wrapped, it was not tight, and it did not make any sense. She might have been strangled with that bandage, but yes, that hot bandage was used to make this girl blind, that is, to cover her eyes, and it may not be true that she was shot with her eyes closed. A few weeks after the autopsy report, the dental report of the girl came in which her identity was confirmed. Yes, the name of this girl was Shari Morrow, and she was 23 years old. She worked as a bar dancer in the Anchorage of Alaska. One night she disappeared from her house without informing. Yes, she had talked to her friends on the first day when the police went and asked her friends, and they told them that yes, she had come to us, and she had told them that he had found a photographer who would do his photo shoot, etc., and will also pay him $300 in return, so he is very excited for this photo shoot. So the police were almost sure that the killer of this girl named Mr. Morrow was this photographer, but they were searching for this photographer in such a big way that they had only 223 in the name of evidence. The caliber of the bullet was shelled, and there are as many hunters as there are people in Alaska, so there is no point in him going and picking up anyone just on the pretext that you are the one who fired this bullet. Here, you will find hunters in every second house. So there are so many hunters, now we have to find a photographer hunter from their beach. How do I find it? The police were also worried now. The police immediately held a press conference and showed the photos of others being shared in the media. They asked that if anyone had ever seen this girl roaming in that area, then please come and tell us. In this press conference, a reporter asked the police, "Are you seeing the deaths of the urban Moryas by connecting them with the other deaths that have occurred in this area or not?"
Now, when did the rest die here? So let's talk, sir.
2 years ago, i.e. in 1980, when the bodies of 2 girls were found in the same manner in the same area of Anchorage, Alaska, yes, the body of one of these 2 girls was so decomposed that he has not been identified to date. Which one could not be known to date, whereas the body of the other girl was in somewhat fine condition, yes, only a little, and when her dental report also came out, she was identified, from which it was revealed that the name of this girl was Jawan Machine. Her age is 24 years. This girl also worked as a bar dancer, answering in a bar only with encouragement. Even then, the police had not found any evidence of these 2 dead bodies, which is why they could not reach their killer. So here, too, the police told the reporters that they did not think that the 2 dead bodies found here were the same as those in Urban. Have anything to do with it. In the press conference, the police at that time refused to say that we did not find any connection, but inside, many policemen were talking about whether all these dead bodies were connected or not because, within a few years, they would be found completely. Many missing reports have been written in this area since then, and it is not known where all those dead bodies have gone, where all those humans have gone, or almost all the people who have left this area. She is no one else, or else she used to do the work of part answer. Were they girls, or were they prostitutes who used to stand on rods to provide their services at night and would disappear that very night?
So what was going on here?
So gradually, the police started to feel that they were not dealing with a common killer but a serial killer. But there was no evidence to prove this.
What happens when you think?
So here that year, the police did not find anything. Next year has come. No one was able to find out that he had cooled down, and no one even remembered that these 3 dead bodies were also found there. The police's hands were cold, but the killer was still very hot. Many girls were still continuously going missing from Anchorage. No one knew that she was shocked after all. But then came the day of June 13, 1983. When a truck driver was taking his truck through a highway in Anchorage. Apart from him, I think no one was walking on the highway. The highway was empty, and then he saw a girl coming running. She was coming towards him, shouting for help while waving her hand. And the surprising thing was that the girl was only in her inner clothes. She had no other clothes on her body, and this was a very surprising thing because at that time it was very cold there. There were more, and this girl was without clothes. Not only this, she was shouting for help with one hand while a handcuff was tied to her other hand. One of the knobs of the chain was fixed here. The other knob was open, and it was surprising that the girl was coming from here, and she came straight to the truck driver. He stopped the truck. The truck driver immediately understood that the girl looked very distressed and needed help. As soon as the truck was stopped, he did not ask the girl anything. The girl automatically opens the door of that truck, sits inside the truck, closes the door, and goes down and hides. And she was pretending as if she was very scared of someone and was trying to hide from someone, and something like this was also true. The truck driver did not ask the girl anything. He just drove his truck away from there and went ahead of that highway. On the way to the beach, the girl said that there would be a hotel ahead on the highway. Leave me there. He still had a handcuff on his hand and clothes on his body, but he came to the hotel, and in front of that hotel, he stopped the truck. The girl woke up at the reception, went to the reception, asked for the key to her room, and just went to her room. But even the hotel reception staff were facing a lot of problems. Seeing the circumstances in which this girl has come here, she has handcuffs on her hands, there are no clothes on her body, and she is very nervous. Never before today has she been so nervous. You see, everyone was scared now, so it is obvious that where there is fear, the police are called, and here too, the police were called, and the police have now reached this hotel. The police had reached the hotel and went straight to his room. The door was knocked, and the girl present inside opened the door fearfully. After seeing the police, she calmed down a bit and allowed the police to enter. The police went inside, and everything started getting angry now. In this, the girl said that she is 17 years old and that her name is Cindy Paulson. But here, the police understood after seeing the girl that she was very scared. He may not have committed any crime, but still, his hands are handcuffed. So first of all, take out this handcuff. So the police took out that handcuff, gave her water to drink, and now listen to her story. Believe me, when I tell you the story of this girl, you will get goosebumps after listening to it. But here you also have to keep in mind that this story of this girl was so dangerous, but then this girl was also very brave, which saved itself. So here he says in his story that last night means the night before the 13th. On the night of the 12th, she was at her work, standing on the streets and waiting for one of her clients to come, but then a car stopped in front of her, and a man was sitting inside that car, a boy. He was sitting there and wearing glasses, and as soon as he stopped the car, he started talking directly to Cindy about how he was a photographer and was looking for models whose photos he could click on, etc. He has to include them in his magazine. She told everything to Cindy, and Cindy now agreed to get her photograph clicked because she was going to get $300 in return. Cindy automatically opened the door of the car and sat on the passenger seat, but as soon as she sat, the boy sitting next to her took out a handcuff with his right hand and pretended that he was wearing her seat belt, etc. He is putting it near her with his other hand, which, if you understand the position I am trying to show, is from the driver's seat. He went to her seat, and it seemed as if he was removing her seat belt and putting it on, but here he was wearing handcuffs rather than a seat belt. Yes, as soon as he turned like this, he caught Cindy's hand by accident and immediately put a handcuff on her, and he put the second knob of the handcuff inside the gate handle. Now she was informed from here and immediately pointed the gun at her head and asked her to keep quiet. She just had to support him, after which he directly took Cindy in his car to his house, which was Moj nearby. And I took Cindy out of there, opened her handcuffs, and took her straight through the inside of her house to the basement. The light in the basement was burning very rarely, only 1 or 2 small bulbs. But Cindy could see that there was a chain hanging from the beach in that basement. This boy caught Cindy, immediately tied her with a chain, and raped her for several hours. When he got tired after doing work, he came out of there and told her that he would come soon and that he was going to sleep for a while. Until then, you remain tied to the chain like this. Cindy remained tied to the chain like this for several hours. Both of her hands were upward, and she was waiting for this boy to return. But before leaving, he had also told Cindy that when he comes back, he will take her to his new place, which is his cabin built in a forest. In that cabin, he will take her, and if you see this beach, if I try anywhere or scream, I will be forced to kill you. Poor Cindy was very scared after hearing this. She was a 17-year-old girl. She was a child. Cynthia was going to remain captive like this for the next several hours, but while being captive, she thought that it was almost impossible for her to escape here because she was a killer, but this killer showed her his car, showed her his face, and showed her his house. He gave him his basement, showed him his trophies, etc., which he had won in hunting. He also showed him some of his own, and now he is saying that he will take him to one of his cabins, so obviously he will not leave him alive. Because if he survives, then obviously this girl will go and tell everything to the police, and this boy will get trapped. So here, Cindy had realized that she would not survive. Here, Cindy had also thought that if she did not somehow run away from here, she would die there. So now it was our turn to run away from here. So from here, the boy who was there directly takes him out of that basement, makes him sit in his car, and goes to a nearby airstrip where one of his planes was parked in the hangar. Yes, okay, the boy of the house had his plane, so he directly took Cinda inside the hangar built on his airstrip. He keeps him sitting in the car, and after opening the car, he is now sitting directly inside the Indigo plane. He is sitting in the cockpit, and now he took out some stuff, etc., from his car and started keeping it in the trunk at the back of the plane. What were the things? Bullets, guns. Cindy became very scared after seeing all the paraphernalia of death, like axes, etc., that he was keeping inside this plane. One handcuff was still tied to his hand, and the other handcuff was empty, but I don't know how that boy was attached to the string of that plane. I had forgotten to tie Cindy. She was sitting straight on the step, and that boy was working behind. Cindy felt that this was the opportunity to become anything. She will not miss this opportunity and will run away from here. As soon as she got a second chance, she opened the cockpit and fell straight down from it. As soon as she fell from the cockpit, her leg also got slightly injured, and as soon as it got hurt, she did not care that she stood up from there and went straight in the same direction. I started running. She turned back and looked once and saw that the boy was walking slowly behind her with a gun in his hand, not running fast, whereas Cindy was running very fast and out of the airport with all her might. While running, he heard from behind that the boy was repeatedly saying that no matter where you run away, I will catch you and will not leave you alive. Will kill you. Hearing this, Cindy kept running. She jumped straight from the wall of that airport. After jumping off the wall, she went through the forests and reached the highway where she met the truck driver. I heard the story of this girl. It seemed no less than a film story, but the police had to believe it because this girl was so scared, and she described what happened to her in such detail that no one could have told it like this. I can't lie like this. Unless all this happened to him, so the police told him, okay, let us assume that all this has happened to you. So now let us get your medical done. So the police made him sit in their car and now started taking him towards Hasla. But on the way to the hospital, Saini told the policeman at the beach that, sir, his hangar is nearby, which means that the airstrip is built nearby. Let me first show you that airstrip. It is possible that that plane is still standing there, so you must go and check there. The police said that it was okay, which is also a good thing. Come on, first show us that hangar and which hangar it is. So the police took him to the strip of that airport, and as soon as he reached the strip, the policeman saw that a hangar was present there, and inside that hangar, a small chartered plane was also parked. The scene was immediately recognized upon seeing this plane. Yes, this was the plane from which she had escaped. The police did not take him there at that time. She saw him from a distance, and from there, she took him straight to the medical hospital. The police had now returned to the hangar and were now investigating the plane. Its tag numbers, etc., engine numbers, etc., whatever was needed to identify the plane, they started noting down all that, taking photographs, etc., but when they were doing this work, they were at the airport. The guards came there and started asking the police, sir, what was the matter? So the police asked him, who is the owner of this plane? So here the guards brought a number plate from their office, and the number plate was of this plane only, and they told me that the owner of this plane is a very strange man, a strange boy, and he was there last night. He also came here on his plane, but I don't know why he did not go anywhere with his plane. We had also entered his car number. We had noted down the number of his car. If you want, we can give you his car number. So the police will say what else we need and immediately give us the number of his car. Immediately after finding out from the RTO, the police saw that both this plane and that car were in the name of a man whose name was Robert Hansen. Now the police immediately reached the house of Robert Hansen, and as soon as they reached his house, they saw that Robert himself was going out somewhere in his car, so the police stopped him, and the car, which Cindy had told them was like this. It was the man's car. This car was matching with the same detailing. It exactly proved his statement, and as soon as the attacker, who was Robert, came out to talk to the police recognized him. Yes, Cindy had also said that his hair is like this and he wears glasses. His beard is light, and it was a perfect match. As soon as he saw the police, he was not scared at all and did not run away from them. He told the police, yes, sir, tell me what the matter is. The police said that we needed to talk to you. He said, okay, let's talk. Let's go inside, so he took the police straight inside his house. Yes, he had no fear that the police could see him somewhere nearby. He took him straight inside, and the police were looking here and there with their full alert eyes. The police also saw the offices that he had shown Cindy. Those trophies were also matching exactly, but before the police could interrogate him, he said, sir, tell me what the matter is. If you want to find anything, then you can take it. The police asked him, okay, where were you last night? We were told that he said that he was with his friends last night. If you want, you can ask ask me? I was with him only. He said, okay, let us ask your friends. His friends were called there and asked what happened. He was with you last night. His friends said yes, sir, of course. We were sitting together and having fun. We were having a lot of fun. So now what happened is that he did something wrong by hitting the peg. He said, no, I have not done anything wrong. We have just come to inquire. The police also inquired around Robert's house and asked Robert's friends. Care was also taken inside Robert's house, but nothing was found inside, nothing was found nearby, and nothing was found with his friends. There was nothing that could prove that Robert was a serial killer, so the police were forced to leave from there. The police left from there. After leaving there, she immediately reached Cindy in the hospital, and as soon as she reached the hospital, she asked Cindy whether she was definitely telling us the truth or if was she just wasting our time. Then the senior said that, sir, all this happened to me. Have you lost your mind? Has all this happened to me, and am I joking? So the police said, okay, if you are telling the truth, then why not do a lie detector test? But Cindy refused this lie detector test. To date, I have not been able to find out why the senior did not want to do this lie detector test, but as soon as he refused, the policeman became alert. If this girl was true, then she would have directly said yes to the lie detector desk, but she said no. Why did he do this? So maybe she is lying and telling her stories is fake. That is why the police have now stopped paying attention to that case. The case got cool. 3 months passed, and after 3 months here in this area, in the same area of Britain, construction work was going on in the same area where the girls were disappearing. And when the construction workers' machine was digging there, they found human remains there. As soon as those remains came out, those workers immediately called the police there, and the police came and investigated the area. During the investigation, only one dead body was found. It was the dead body of a girl, and a bullet shell was found on the side. It seemed as if the bullet shell was specially kept here to show it to the police or to tease the police. If yes, then catch it. But nothing was found, so the police got him adopted. It came to light that she too was raped and then shot. Nothing much was revealed in the adoption report, but this girl was identified in the dental records. According to the dental records, the name of this girl was Ola, and her age was 17 years. This girl also used to work as a flood answer in encouragement. The shell that was found by the police from here was examined, and the rest of the shells that were found earlier were also examined. It came to my attention that all these Colios were shot with the same rifle, which now proved that the killer of all of them was the same. By the time they reached here, the police were now convinced that they were dealing with a serial killer, and finding any serial killer is not an easy task. It is very difficult, but many police officers were also saying that whether it happened or not, it must be an observation, but how could anyone pick him up? There was no proper evidence against him. His friends were in his favor and were saying that he was with us only. He was respected all around, but how could they pick him up and suddenly say, yes, brother, you are the serial killer, without any delay when the police did not feel that they had any leads or anything based on which they could close this case? He directly contacted FBI profiler John Douglas. Yes, he was a very big investigator, and at that time, he was the leader of the entire United States. Believe me, he has solved such cases in which the police had given up hope, and when John Agla was contacted, he was asked to tell. John Douglas also talked to Cindy about who could be involved in this case. Cindy was also asked who she was, and her sketch was made. So totally, when he told everything in the end, the only meaning was that whether it was true or not, it was Robert Hansen. On the statements of John Douglas, the police immediately went to the court, and the court at that time believed the words of John Douglas very much. As soon as the court heard the name of Robert Hansen from the mouth of John Agles, it immediately went to Robert Hansen's house. The warrants were handed over to the police. Go and investigate his house thoroughly and see what is hidden inside, and this time the police's hands were in the right place. As soon as the police entered his house, Robert Beast was not ready for everything that the police had hatched against him. But here, as soon as he saw her, he did not panic at all and started talking to the police. The police have now started their investigation. As soon as they started the investigation, the first thing they found was a map of the same British area lying there, and 37 acts were written on that map. 37 acts were made at different places, and out of these, 3 or 4 were those where the dead bodies had been found by the police till now. 4 dead bodies were found. Those X's were placed in the same place. Come to think of it, there were where are the rest? Apart from this, police found 2 .23 caliber rifles there. Then the police found a bag inside which there were many women's jewelry, etc., and in the same jewelry, there was a necklace that belonged to none other than Urban Morrow. She was the first girl whose dead body was found, and when the police reached this house, she was loading the goods in her car after taking them out of the house when a woman living in the neighborhood of this house came out of her house and came to the police, and she told the police that you did the right thing by picking it up. My husband just did it. Recently, I stated in front of you that Gujarat Robert was with her, but I know that my husband is lying because my husband and friend were not in the city at night, and he had gone out for his work, and this boy was with him. Time was not with my husband. On hearing this, the police immediately realized that, yes, they had now come to the right place. Now, finally, Robert had been caught, and a charge sheet had also been made against him, but now it was time for a confession of this entire case. Yes, believe Robert Hansen's confession, and when you listen to this confession, your heart will be shaken and your hair will stand on end as to what kind of man he was. But before starting this confession, he told the police that a condition was put before the CE that he would take the murder charge only for the 4 dead bodies found. Apart from this, he would not tell anything to the police. The police said, "Baji, you tell us. We just promise you that we will not impose any other charge on you except these 4 murders, but at least Baji, tell us what you did." So he said, "Okay, since you are telling me so much, then 4 will be just 4. Tell me, and I will give you everything." He told the police that he goes out on the streets at night and sees prostitutes, service providers, barmaids, etc. standing there waiting for their clients to come. He goes to such girls and tells them that he is a photographer and he wants to click their photos, and in exchange for these photos, he will give them $300 and $400. Now those girls are already troubled with their work. They do this work out of compulsion. Obviously, $300, $400 is a big deal for them to run their house, etc. So they say yes, it is fine, and in fact, many of these are models who have come here to make their career in modeling, and they accidentally get trapped in the work, but they do not know in whose hands they are going to get trapped. As soon as a girl says yes, I am ready, then he tells her that it is okay, not today. I will come to pick you up tomorrow and meet me at that restaurant. So the girl says, okay, I will reach there tomorrow. At this time, this boy was very clever. He used to stand outside that restaurant with his car even before the girl reached there, and as soon as the girl came, he used to see whether the girl had come alone or brought someone else with her. As soon as he saw her, if he came to know that the girl had come alone, he would immediately reach her and make her sit in the passenger seat of his car. The girl sits on the passenger seat, but the girl does not pay attention to the handle of the door, which pulls the door, due to which the handcuffs are locked on her. One latch is already attached to it. The other latch is open inside, where the girl's hand will go, and as soon as the girl sits inside, Robert goes near her, and under the pretext of putting her on the seat, he immediately puts her hand inside the handcuff and closes the handcuff. Robert told me that he had become so practiced in tying these handcuffs that he no longer needed to go and see where the handcuffs, etc. were. Even with his eyes closed, he would hold the girl's hand and tie it directly inside her. Think about how many times he might have done this work so much that he has become so used to it, after which he takes them straight to his home and takes them to his basement. After taking them to the basement, he directly ties them with a chain, exactly as Cinda had told, rapes them there. After doing his work there, he directly takes them out of there, puts them in his car, takes them to the airport, and after the airport, he puts them on a plane. From there, poor Cindy was able to leave, but the other girls could not. As soon as he boards the plane at the airport, he flies the plane and goes straight to the forests, 20 miles away from the British, and lands his plane on a strip. There was a raw strip there that was situated in the forests. It landed there. He takes the girl out, blindfolds her, and leaves her wide open. Believe me, this is where a very disgusting game begins. Yes, he blindfolds her, leaves her wide open, says, I have left you, and sheds tears. You are free, but that girl's hands are still tied behind her back, and she is blindfolded. Where will she go even after leaving? The girl keeps wondering they're like this for about 3 to 4 days, and this man also follows her along with his food and drink and keeps watching her to see where she is going. Yes, she knows that at this place where her cabin is, there is water all around it. Yes, all around. That is, she cannot go beyond the water, so she will stay in this area no matter what happens. If she jumped out from here, then obviously she would drown and die. She couldn't escape. After that, if even by mistake, the girl came in front of him, he would immediately give her a scratch with a knife. Used to pinch him. He would give a slight injury, and finally, when he was satisfied while doing this, I was completely in love with this girl. So he would immediately remove her clothes and directly shoot her. Shoots 3 or 4 bullets. He would kill anyone with his rifle, immediately put his clothes back on, and dig his grave on the spot. He used to play games. Just imagine what this poor boy was doing with those girls. The police took him straight back to his crime scene, back to the same forest, and said, tell me the location of the 37 marks that you have put up so that we can take out the girls and the dead bodies from here. In total, he told the location of 12 more dead bodies, which he had forgotten. Those dead bodies that he had kept here were not found there because the wild animals living nearby might have eaten them. They might have become tense. If the water came into the forest, then they might have been washed away with it. Or else he may have forgotten. In fact, he has forgotten where that lash is now. Because he had been doing one thing for a very long time. He was now sentenced to life imprisonment, in which he could neither come out on parole nor get bail. We will not be able to find out much about it now because Robert Hansen died while in jail in 2014. Such a man also exists in this world.
How did you like this video?
Please tell us in the comments.
See you in the next video.
Thanks for watching this video.